Hey, good morning. Dr. Bob Flower, and this is your Master Pattern Report for Wednesday, December 28th. I hope you're having some super holidays and, in fact, a great new year next year. Okay, so let's get to it. Last week, our call on silver came a day early, and the S&P, of course, is moving back and forth, up and down in that short 400 point range on the Dow uh, corridor there. So we do expect an up move here. Matter of fact, Friday the 30th, we're looking for an up move. There's about a 60% chance of an up move Friday on the Dow, the S&P, and there's about a 67% chance of an up move on Monday the 2nd. But we are looking for a downturn here. One of the indicators that's pointing us in this direction, the qualitative indicators here, is the fact that investors are pulling out of stocks and mutual funds and into bonds in a very big way over the past 10 days. In fact, it's the second largest move this year into into bonds and out of the market. So there's something going on here that people are intuiting. We're reading that has to do with a negative move coming shortly. Okay, we're gonna talk about that as well. All right, so now let's look at some other stuff here. We're going to do some predictions on next Monday. I'm going to give you a little flavor of some predictions right now, but right now, something I love being a researcher. That I think that's what I do best, and something that always fascinates me. All different types of things, not just economics. I love human behavior studies and ancient mysteries and stuff like that. And as a matter of fact, my last book, it has a lot to do with solving ancient mysteries. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but this last book, which is not out yet, we sold the rights to a Russian publisher for exclusive rights in Russia. So if you speak Russian or you happen to be traveling in Russia, you will see Dr. Bob's new book coming out there within the next 60, 90 days. Okay, not yet in this country. We're a little bit behind in those types of things. But one of the things that I've discovered, which you may find great interest in this, is this whole Keystone pipeline thing. Why is it that the president has been holding back on this thing? I mean, this thing is a no-brainer. Not only will it produce at least 20,000 jobs immediately, but peripherally, I mean, there's estimates, if you believe them or not, of up to producing up to 100,000 jobs, 100,000 more jobs. Be that as it may, 20,000 is a good number. If you go to 40 or 50, it's still a big number, and it would help us in cutting our cost of fuel, because it's coming into the United States. We're not paying shipping costs, and the money's not it's going to Canada, but it's not leaving the continent. Okay. Well, it seems like there's a little hanky-panky going on here, folks. Our good friend, the Oracle from Omaha, that kind old man. Well, he doesn't like this. And the reason he doesn't like this Keystone pipeline is because of his tremendous interest in the railroads. And his railroads have the contracts to deliver that North Dakota, South Dakota coal shale. Big bucks. And for every day that this pipeline is being held up, that's a hell of a lot more money in the Oracle's coffers. Okay, so when we hear Democrats, as well as the Republicans, when we hear the Democrats talk about, being influenced by the rich, keep that in mind. They're all a bunch of hypocrites, and they're all out for themselves and the almighty buck, which is, okay, but they shouldn't be putting it before the interests of millions of people. That's the point. That's the damn point. Okay. All right. So a little bit of interest there. Okay. So now the other piece of news I found very interesting this week is that Brazil has overtaken the United Kingdom, Great Britain, England, however you want to identify it, as the sixth largest economy. Now, remember, we told you a couple of weeks ago that Brazil was going to be one of the centers that they're trying to build up. Germany, in fact, Germany is dictating the new common market, new European common market rules and regulations under the threat of dissolution of the euro currency. Boy, wouldn't you like to be short the euro when and if that happens? Man, oh man alive. Whatever, Germany is moving towards a more powerful economic role. Russia and China are at war with each other, okay, over economically, and China is about to burst. Its real estate bubble, from what I'm hearing, has burst. We haven't heard about it yet, and we probably won't for a couple of weeks yet. And perhaps that'll be our January 9th surprise, something along those lines. But Russia is having its social political problems, and if they go to a guns and butter economy, trying to build up their war surplus and whatnot, they're going to be in some serious trouble as well. Okay. And what is all this bringing about? Well, it's bringing about trade wars. You can bet your sweet life that we're going to see trade wars within the next couple of months, at the latest. February, sometime in February, obviously. Okay, and of course, greater moves internationally towards class warfare. The haves and the have-nots. All right, you're going to see that big time. Thanks to our esteemed leader, who believes in separation instead of unification, like he originally said. Just on values alone and honesty alone, this guy shouldn't be reelected. I'm sorry. I know a lot of my friends like him, or friends, acquaintances, like him and think he should be, he should be the hero of anti-capitalism. Just remember who his closest buddies and advisors are. The Oracle and Saros and whatnot. And if those guys aren't capitalists, nobody's a capitalist. Okay. Now, and talking about that, the COO of MF Global Company, the one where $1.2 billion is missing and nobody seems to know. Well, the COO is a fellow by the name of Brad Ablow, okay, who testified before Congress a week, 10 days ago, and said he doesn't know where the money is. Well, guess who Mr. Bradlow represents, who he's a consultant to? The EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. He's their financial advisor. Hey, no capitalism in that administration, huh? Oh yeah. Okay, so here we are. We got trade roads. We got pipelines. We got people moving out of stocks and mutual funds into bonds and into cash in the cash in the safe and cash under the pillow and whatnot. We really think that what's going to happen here, nationalism, protectionism is going to be the way of 2012. I know a lot of people have already called for a very negative 2012. We're one of them. We think that even though it is a election year and the Federal Reserve may try with another QE3, we don't think it would work. If they did it, we don't think it will work. We think it'll have like a 1 day, 2 day impact at best, and then just simply fall apart because there's nothing that can be done. For instance, Italy's bonds are soaring, and Spain is getting itself together, but Greece, Italy, and Spain, and now other countries, Hungary and the Netherlands are all having problems. The Belgian government was just downgraded by, I think it was Finch. So we're in big trouble here. China having its own issues coming to light will not help what's going on here, and the unemployment will be of course an issue, but what's happening here is the workforce is shrinking, at least on paper, as people are no longer eligible for relief, going off of the unemployment benefits and whatnot. So that makes it look like there's less people that are out, but in fact, folks, we're in a recession depression. That's like borderline depression. Okay, and how are things doing so well? Well, they're not. Wall Street talks about this profit and that profit and everything else, and those are 100, 500 companies out of God knows how many thousands of companies that are doing well, and they're talking about big gross sales for the holidays. Well, sure, that's 50, 60, 70, 80% discounts on goods. Of course, you got a lot of people out buying. Where are the profits, though? What's the net income look like? Not too well, folks. I can assure you of that. So these are all things that Main Street, once again, is getting kicked in the pants, and it's going to be harder to make money, to get better jobs. So the jobs are coming down. Depreciation and deflation are still here because these banks are loaded down with this bad debt all over the world. All over the world. It's not just in the United States, okay? And this is something that's not going to go away. They can't just close it, write it off. It's just not going to happen. And of course, the real estate prices, they're talking about the real estate market coming back. Sales are coming back because, once again, prices are down 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, even 70% in some areas. Okay, so of course the sales are better, of course they are. But hey, when you can buy a condo in certain places like in Florida or Arizona or in California for less than what you can buy a car, a high margin car, of course you're going to get more sales. Okay, so that's pretty much what's going on here. Let me just tell you that again, we're going to do some predictions on Monday. We're going to look at a couple of calls. Next week is going to be a very, very busy week, folks. Next week and the following week, we're going to see a lot of stuff going on. And I just have one more quick comment about getting involved in things. As you know, I ran for mayor in Yonkers. I did it because I had a message. I had something I had to get out there. And I lost. In fact, I got my ass kicked. But you know what? Within 2 days after the primary of my loss, I had both the Republican and the Democratic candidate call me and say to me, we want you to be part of our economic development team. You got to get involved, folks. You got to get involved to change the world. All right? And let's hope that 2012, no matter what it is, brings change. Thanks a lot.